Hey viewers, well it's Christmas Day 2013 and I'm going to make one more video, one of a number that I've got here recorded to go up as soon as I can. So here in poor redneck world, my friend is working on another project, the most recent one that he's I think going to keep for a while. This is a '04 Hyundai Accent that he recently purchased, I'd say 3 or 4 months ago. The vehicle was actually wrecked by the previous owner when he purchased it. And so we'll kind of do a brief walk around. Actually, the interior actually looks pretty good. So the deal with this car is the previous owner had rear-ended a truck, and so my friend, after having doing some negotiations, got him down to $400 cash, and he has since put in a total of just under $300 in parts to get this car back on the road. So the hood had to be replaced, front bumper and grille had to be replaced, both headlights had to be replaced, driver's front fender had to be replaced, radiator core support had to be replaced, as did the radiator, and I believe that had to be replaced also. So after having pulled everything off and went to a not so local pull apart salvage to get the parts, he's got this car back on the road. So today he's actually not doing anything body related. He's actually working on replacing the timing belt. Now again, this is a '04 Hyundai Accent. I figured I'd just kind of detail kind of what's involved in doing a timing belt. The biggest thing probably you need to be aware of is the timing marks. This is a 16 valve dual overhead cam engine, and basically before you do anything, once you remove this top timing belt cover, which is actually that big one right there, you've got, looks like 3 or 4 bolts, looks like 10mm. Now you got bolt located here, one here, there's one here, 3 bolts, and I believe it's clipped on. Then you get access to the top timing. You'll notice that there's and I hope I can catch this on camera, there's a hole right here, and of course there's a mark right here that somebody previously did. Behind this hole you'll see a notch on the head. It's got pink markings on it from the factory. This hole should line up perfectly with the notch behind it. At the same time, if you look down, of course the pulley's already been removed, but you can see down there, there's the timing mark, the T, and I hope the camera can pick this up. Let's see if we can. Okay, there's a T right there, kind of off center to the right. That's top dead center. And what you actually want to do is rotate the engine using a breaker bar or ratchet, and rotate it until your indicator mark is lined up. And I know there's a mark on here. He actually just pulled this off. Well, anyway, when it's up there, there is a there's an indicator mark that lines up on that T on the top dead center. And so when both the mark on the crankshaft pulley is lined up with the T, and then that hole on the cam pulley is lined up with the little notch behind it, and it's on top dead center, it's best to have an impact gun to break the bolt loose in order to remove that pulley. We did not have access to that at the moment, so we used an old torque wrench and a screwdriver, just kind of jammed in up against the engine to hold it in place. Once the bolt comes out, then your pulley there comes off, and everything just comes off with it. Easy access to the timing belt. So you got to, of course, you got to remove, looks like there's a couple more bolts involved to remove the lower timing cover off to be able to get access to the rest of the belt. Probably the biggest concern with replacing this is making sure it's in proper time and being able to get that lower crank pulley off. So anyway, he's doing the timing belt replacement on this vehicle. He has no records of whether or not this timing belt has ever been replaced. There's nothing, paperwork or work orders or anything like that with the car. And looking at the timing belt, it actually looks pretty good, actually. I mean, it's got some very fine cracking on it, but you know, the way we think about this is this engine is an interference engine. And just in case anybody out there watching this doesn't already know what that means, it means that there's no space inside that engine if the timing belt should snap, or these little teeth on the timing belt should strip away, which is actually, in my experience, these timing belt driven engines, these Hyundais and Hondas and even Escorts and things like that, more times than not you won't actually see the timing belt break or snap. What you'll actually see on the lower crankshaft is right there at the bottom, these sections of teeth off the belt will actually strip away. So when you go to work on it, you'll see the belt, it'll still be in place, but it won't be rotating. That's actually more times than not, but basically what that all amounts to is if the timing belt breaks or the teeth get stripped away and it fails, then the valves and the pistons will collide, and more times than not you're going to wind up with internal engine damage, especially if you're going 65, 70 down the highway with 2,000 or 3,000 RPMs on it. That's pretty much a commonality. So without having any paperwork knowing whether or not this belt had ever been replaced, he just decided to go ahead and you know, play it safe. Go ahead and throw a new belt on here, and that way we know that the belt has been replaced. But other than that, that's basically where we are on the car. Purchased for $400 and got less than $300 invested in the repairs between the parts and the timing belt. The only parts that he had to put new on the car were the headlights, purchased off of a website. The radiator core support, also purchased off of a website. The radiator itself, purchased off of a website. And he bought the timing belt new at a local auto parts store. But looks like that's pretty much where we're at. And so we're going to go ahead and kill the camera since we're losing battery power anyway, and see how it runs when it's all said and done. Thanks for watching. Comments welcome.